We're here with DeLee Powell, shop owner of Baker's Collision Center in Mansfield, Ohio. And DeLee, why don't you tell us a little bit about Baker's Collision Center?
Well, my father started the business in 1953. So this year we're celebrating 70 years in business, which is really a big milestone for us. We're very proud of that. I've been managing this business since 2001, although I've worked in it on and off, I want to say my entire life, just because it's the family business.
So over 20 years, congratulations. Not easy to be in business over 20 years. Now your shop's name has the word collision, but it does a lot more than collision repair. Can you talk about the mechanical repair work your shop does?
We were doing a lot of mechanical repair on the collision cars. So, as the cars have become more and more sophisticated, we felt like it was important for us to keep more and more of that work in-house so that we could control the cycle time of the repairs and also just make sure that it was being done properly. I want to say 15 years ago, we decided to go full-fledged service. So we had one technician, really weren't even able to keep him 100% busy when we started out, and we have now gone to, really growing that business. I'm a numbers person, and so I found out that typically a customer has an accident every 7 years. So once every 7 years, we have a chance to touch that customer as a collision customer. But when you're doing service work alongside of that, you're touching that customer 3 or 4 times a year. My focus was always to have lifetime customers because we've been here for 3 generations and we wanted to be able to just continue to take care of those generations of customers out there.
How many technicians and bays do you have for mechanical repair?
We have 4 technicians, but one of those technicians is actually on the road with our AAA. Day in and day out, we have 3 technicians using 6 bays in our facility.
How much of the mechanical repair work that Baker's does now would you say is unrelated to a collision repair?
About 70%. So 70% of the work that we're doing is not collision related. And part of that is because we're able to upsell a lot of mechanical services to our collision customers.
Prior to switching to Identifix Shop Manager, what program were you using for mechanical repairs?
So we'd had these little bits and pieces of software that we were using, but it wasn't a complete solution like Identifix Shop Manager is.
Can you talk about the process of implementing the software? From beginning to end, how long was the onboarding process for your shop?
The process of implementing it was really well done. I think we had some great instructors. You really have really good tutorials. So the expectations were set properly because of how busy we were. At one point, we just were like, hard start was 2 months out. So it gave us time to do the tutorials, to work with it, to try it. It worked well.
Think back to, say, the day before you went live with Identifix Shop Manager. What type of concerns, were you as a shop owner having at that time?
So I knew it was just a matter of really getting the complete buy-in. I know that most people that use software only use little bits and pieces of it, and I've always been one that wants to use as much of it as we can. I really didn't have concerns because I knew that up until that point, the training team that had worked with us, training us and assisting us, had been so good that I felt like if we ran into any challenges, we could handle it. The other thing is, because we had that 2 months of kind of using it, we'd worked out all the bugs before we went live. So it was just really a smooth transition. I didn't have concerns. That's not to say other people won't, but it wasn't an issue for me.
Now, when you told your staff, hey, we're going to switch over to this new program, Identifix Shop Manager, how would you say their reaction was and, how they adapted to it in the months you've been using it?
My service manager was very excited about it because he could see that it was more similar to what he'd been using in his dealership. And we really wanted a program that gave our customers the end experience that we were a high-end service center and not just a mom and pop center. So it was really important for us to have that, and we really feel like Solaris offered that to us. They're doing a great job with taking photos and attaching those photos, so my service writer, Mary Jo, can actually help sell those products. And even though we had some of that technology available with the old software, it wasn't being utilized, or it wasn't as easy to use.
Thinking back, when you were setting up this safety inspection within Identifix Shop Manager, what was that process like?
I mean, very, very easy. I mean, it just showed us the steps to how to set it up. They actually had some canned safety inspections in there that we could use as a template to go off of, but we already had our own safety inspections that we had been doing previously, and it just really allowed us to customize it exactly the way we wanted it, and that was, again, a big plus.
So what aspects of the Identifix Shop Manager program have improved your shop's work processes the most?
One of the things that I like the most, I want to say, from the management or the ownership would be the fact that we get that approval and that signed approval of what they want to have us do coming back through with an email. To me, that is kind of a liability issue, versus trying to get an approval, a verbal approval over the phone. The customers seeing it, they're approving what we've said we could do. The nice thing is, if we offer, let's say we offer 6 different things that the car needs, they can come back and approve 4 of those things, and then we know exactly, what they're thinking, how to go. So there's lots of little pieces, but that was one of the big things. The other thing is the integration. Before we were using Identifix kind of as a standalone, not as a management system. And then now with the Identifix Shop Manager, it's all integrated, so that Identifix piece is in there. We were using that daily already. The ability to be able to order the parts. So we have that connection there where we can order parts directly as we're ready to proceed with a repair order, and or just bring up the parts information, see what's available out there from the consumer.
And presumably for parts, are you connecting with your local vendors?
Through the system, you can actually do more, but we decided to just stick with our 4 primary ones. That has really been a time saver, and it's also helped us getting the right parts. So we're not really having to talk to anybody on the phone. We're not having to look it up separately on their website. We're actually connected to the website through the management system, and it's really effective.
Would you say you've been able to kind of increase your sale rate of recommended services now that you're using Identifix Shop Manager?
Yeah, I would say that we have been able to sell more items because of the fact that, not that they don't believe or trust our service writers and our service manager, but just the fact that they can see the photos. So it's like, oh yeah, I can see that is worn out, or I can see that needs replaced. So I think the fact that we're now incorporating the photos in with our bids and our estimates is just really, really helping to sell more items.
That's great. Did you expect that to be the case, or has that kind of been an unexpected benefit?
I think if anybody can see visually what's going on with their car, they feel more confident. The guys have embraced putting all the photos in there, and then the trickle down of it is helping us sell more things. That was something that they kind of did on their own without me having to push them to do that. Like I said, they've really embraced the software and are just continuing to use more and more of it as time goes on. Okay.
So when they started taking the photos, did they just do that with their cell phones? Did you have a tablet in the shop they were using? I'm just curious how they're even taking the photos and attaching them to the repair orders.
So most of the time they're using their phones to look and see what jobs they have. So what's their next job? They're able to then go to their phone and say they've completed the jobs. Mary Jo sends the jobs to them through the system, and then it goes right to their phones. We do have tablets for them to use for the safety inspections, And then when they're using that tablet, that's when they're taking those photos. And again,
Okay.
that's sending right down into the computer system for the service writer and service manager to see.
So the job dispatch through your service advisor down to the technician, was that your plan from the beginning to have your technicians be accepting jobs on their devices, or did that just sort of happen organically, or just by using the software?
I don't know that we thought that that was going to be part of it. And I think it's really helped our communication. That was one of the things that when I spoke with my service department, that the communication is really improved by using this software. And I feel like communication is the #1 challenge of every business, marriage, family, whatever. And so when you can improve communication, that's a big win. Also, I know you've been to our facility, Jeff. Our offices and where our service writer is, like downstairs, we're 2 levels, and our service department is upstairs. The technicians are like in their stalls working on their cars where they need to be. They're not having to come down and talk to my service writer. And they do, but I mean, it's much less. So again, it's keeping them more on the job.
Can you talk a little how you're integrating Identifix Shop Manager with your accounting system?
Identifix Shop Manager is going to work very, very well with QuickBooks. We do not use QuickBooks, we use BusinessWorks. So the way that integrates into BusinessWorks is like a journal entry. So all of the information is actually in the management system that you would need to look at, but then all of the final data, the income statement, so on and so forth, that's going to be in BusinessWorks, and it goes in there as a journal entry.
As you look back on, you're using Identifix Shop Manager, what would you say has surprised you the most about it?
So I want to say all the basic stuff is there, but there's lots of bells and whistles. It's really working smoothly. We really don't have any downtime, and all of the different integrations between the customer information being in there. As we do breaks on a certain model of vehicle, it's saving that estimate history. So the next time that model of vehicle comes in, even for a different customer, that might be in there. So there's just lots of little shortcuts that we weren't necessarily expecting, that we found and embraced and are using, and is really, again, helping Mary Jo be more effective.
Have you mentioned the past services based on vehicle. What about canned jobs? Have you set up any of those?
We have. It's allowed us to, again, be more efficient at writing the tickets and just really selling the product. It definitely is a time saver to have those canned jobs in there.
Anything else you want to add about your experience with Identifix Shop Manager?
Before we went with Shop Manager, we really did thoroughly investigate what was out there. And we really felt like you were at the very top. I feel like we're getting the top quality product for a reasonable price. I do feel like it puts us on the same level as the high-end dealerships that I see and interact with. I feel like it's putting us at that same level, and that was our goal.
Anything else you would like to add about your experience?
Well, I don't know if you treat all your customers like you treat me, but you
make me
feel very special, and I really appreciate the working relationship that we've had from the time of considering using the product up until today. It's been a very, very good experience, so thank you.
Thank you very much for your time.